Hey, it's Evan from LUXBMX here, just back for another frequently asked Friday. Just going to go through some more of your questions that you've been asking. Bit of a random, just going to pick them at random at the moment, but yeah, certainly the more we get through this, if there's anything that is more popular, more commonly asked, we'll try and address those. So the first question we had today was in regards to gear ratios. What do gear ratios, or what's the difference between different types of gear ratios and what they do? So I guess with most of your freestyle BMX bikes, you'll see a common gear ratio of 25:9, so 25 on the front, so 25 teeth on the front sprocket and 9 teeth on the back. That gives you about a sort of one full rotation on the front, gives you about 2.75 rotations on the rear cog. So that's a pretty standard acceleration that you find. It's pretty similar to the traditional 44/16, so it's kind of tried and true. You might see some guys that might want to run a 28 on the front and 9 on the back. Basically, you're going to get a little bit higher acceleration with that, so it's going to be a little bit harder to pedal, but you pick up your speed a little bit quicker. That's fairly common these days. A lot of guys do like that 28/9. There's not many 10-tooth cog options on the market these days in your freestyle stuff. There's a handful, but not a whole lot. 9 is the sort of standard, so people don't play around with that too much, but you do see some options there. I guess in regards to race wheels, you find your gear ratios are relatively similar, and it's probably a little bit more in depth when people talk about rollout and calculating their rollout for sort of the optimal amount of speed or acceleration they can get. For the most part, the ratios are roughly the same, relatively similar to a 25/9, 44/16. You'll just find on a 44/16 gear ratio that it runs a little bit smoother because the chain isn't as kinked as much on the rear cog. So you get sort of smoother acceleration. You also find that the point between the center of the front sprocket to the top of the teeth, as that's a bit longer, you're getting a bit more leverage on that too. So, but yeah, so I guess it's a bit of a rabbit hole. You can definitely go down pretty far, and if you have any further questions in regards to that, just hit us up, certainly in the comments or by email. We can be more specific with that sort of thing. So, thanks. So one of the other big questions we get asked quite a lot is how to get sponsored. So it's definitely a tricky one to answer. So, there's a lot of different answers, I guess, for that. So my perspective on that, and from things I've sort of seen, it really comes down to what you want out of being sponsored. We all have, I guess people have a different expectation of what it is to be sponsored and what they're going to get out of it, and how is it going to make their life better or their riding better or anything like that. Yeah, I mean, we live in a pretty tricky time to navigate that sort of stuff, with people being sponsored and having the sort of brand influence on Instagram or sort of a pseudo sponsorship sort of stuff. But the main thing I would say is if that's the path that you're going to take, enjoy riding your bike first and foremost. That's the main thing as a prospective sponsor is going to want to see. You need to see someone that just loves doing what they're doing, because they'll be there forever. And then you've obviously got to be good, so you've got to put in the hard work. So there's obviously a lot of good riders out there, some really good riders out there that don't necessarily get sponsorship, and it could be they're not quite what different brands are looking for, but in the end of the day, if they're enjoying what they're doing and that's keeping them riding, then maybe they don't need it. It's so it's pretty straightforward. So another question we get asked quite a lot is how to start a bike shop. It's definitely something that's pretty close to our heart. It's what we went through. I think it's one of those things. If you want it enough and you can put in the hard work, that's really what it comes down to. There's no limitations, nothing really stopping you from doing it. If you're passionate about what you do and you want to provide that sort of service for people and do that sort of stuff, then by all means. I guess logistically you've kind of got to have some experience, and that helps. So getting into a bike shop, getting some experience in working in a bike shop, understanding the industry a little bit helps. But you know, these are the kind of things that you kind of make up as you go along. Like, we never had a rule book when we wanted to start the shop. We just knew what we loved, and I guess we had a lot of experience initially, and it kind of all fell into place from there. So yeah, you know, you could be in a small town and you don't have access to things. There's absolutely no reason for you to not start up a bike shop if that's what you want to do. Find a lease for somewhere cheap. You know, you need to do sort of the business sort of side of things. So, you know, kind of get yourself a business plan, work out a budget, how much things are going to cost, how much you can afford to live on, because for the first probably 5 years, I guess we lived on 2-minute noodles, so it was we had pretty cheap rent. That's how we got by. But you love what you do, you get there. So, and it keeps moving. So that basically sums up our frequently asked Fridays for today. Yeah, if you have any questions, certainly hit us up in the comments, or via any of our other social channels. We'll see what we can do to get some answers for you. So as always, like, subscribe, comment, hit us up. Thanks, catch up, bye.